We are ready now to listen to the Holy Gospel, the good news of Jesus who speaks to us today about the importance of faith. Please join me in singing the Gospel acclamation.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." And the Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your servant, who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished.' Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Well, today's first reading from the prophet named Habakkuk started out with a complaint by the prophet to God, saying something like this: "Why are you not answering my prayers? Why are you making me wait so long when I pray to you to solve some of these problems that I and the people are facing?" It's okay to complain to God. Maybe we often do that. God understands and tolerates our complaints and answers our prayers. Also, along in that same vein, the first words of the Gospel today were the apostles to Christ saying, "Increase our faith." In other words, they felt a kind of a lack, that they didn't have enough, because he talked a lot about faith, but they somehow felt they were kind of missing out. So they said that, "Please increase what we call faith." Now, our faith is very precious to us, I'm sure, and sometimes our belief, our trust, our faith in God can be challenged. And we feel like the prophet that God is not listening or waiting too long to answer. You know, some of the great saints of the church have had experiences like this. We think of saints as always being kind of in ecstasy and always in the presence of God. Well, that is not necessarily true. We all know the experience of Mother Teresa of Calcutta, a very wonderful person. We hear a lot about her. A book that was written about her, that in her life she experienced a lot of distress and uncertainty and was discouraged very often, which we were kind of surprised to hear. No wonder, you know, she worked among the poorest of the poor, you know, very difficult situations. And we can point out other examples too, like St. Teresa of Avila, supposed to be kind of a leader in the spiritual life. In her writing, she said that she experienced about 20 years of God's lack of presence to her. That's what prompted her to say in a prayer once attributed to her that it's no wonder, God, that you have so few friends, that you treat them in this way. Or John of the Cross, again another one of those saints who was a kind of a leader in the spiritual life, speaking about what he called the dark night of the soul. So there's agony and there's ecstasy. When we lack faith and have troubles, it's kind of agonizing for us. And when we feel God's presence, we are elated and feel that ecstasy. So realize that when we have these doubts, and the theme today, of course, is about faith, that we're in good company. It doesn't mean that we are bad people. And the message there is simply in two words: to hang on, or hang in there. So we can define faith in different ways. I'd like to associate it with trust. We have faith and trust in people, and hopefully we have faith and trust in Jesus and God, too, as God the Father. It can be compared, someone maybe like to a seed that is planted in us, as we plant a seed in the ground, and you can lie dormant there and not produce anything, but when put to the test and with the right nourishment can grow and produce great fruit. So a seed idea is a mysterious kind of a thing, but it generates new life, and faith can generate new life for all of us. Or it's like the blood in our bodies. The blood that sustains us in our bodies. Well, faith is like that. It animates our whole lives and the decisions that we make in life. Sometimes real life stories of people's faith may inspire us. I just want to tell you one brief story today about a family that I know and have known better when I was in their parish as pastor. But I just want to tell you a brief story about of a wonderful family, a father and a mother, and I knew them. They had 3 young children, all in school, 2 boys and a girl. I'm sorry, 2 girls and a boy. And they were all altar servers, the kids, and so I kind of knew them quite well. And the one I want to tell you the story about is, I won't tell you her real name, but I'm going to call her Angela, because it reminds you of angels. It's this young girl, always struck me as being kind of an angel, had that angelic look about her. And the story of her happened about, in 1999, about that, 17 years ago, when she was about 13 years old, a young teenager, those dangerous years. Wonderful kid, wonderful family, full of faith, but normal, very normal. She was beginning to have vision problems, and nausea, and splitting headaches. Well, naturally, the mother took her to the doctor, and she was misdiagnosed at first with flu, went home. Went later, because of the sight problem, to the eye doctor, and he said, well, her problem is really related to the cold medicine she's taken, causing this kind of reaction. And of course, neither of them were right. So as she started getting worse, since she had what we call double vision, where you see double, the only way that you get rid of it was to block off one eye with an eye patch. So they went to the neurologist, actually, back in April of the springtime of that year, and was diagnosed with the words they did not want to hear, and she had a brain tumor. And they put a kind of a shunt in it. I don't know how that works exactly, but they went to Albany Medical Center, and that gave her some help, temporary help, but didn't really take away the symptoms. They scheduled a trip and an appointment to go to Boston for brain surgery, and they went there, and they did have some surgery there, but when she left, she still needed that eye patch to overcome that double vision that I mentioned before. Now, the mother who told me the story wrote to me a letter giving me these details, and she reiterated that this was the bleakest time of her life, and she felt let down and even betrayed by God, a natural feeling when times of trouble, especially when they affect your children. However, she continued to pray sincerely, never gave up on her prayers. And at one point, she felt a need to go and visit Auriesville, the shrine of the North American martyrs, because she had been there in her youth, the mother, and was impressed by the grounds and the things that were there. And also on there, the shrine of St. Kateri Tekakwitha, who plays a part in the story that I am telling. And St. Kateri Tekakwitha, as you may know, was recently canonized as a saint. I happened to be there at the time with a group from Albany. And she also, in her life, had eye problems. Her vision, they say, was very, very poor. And so she very kind of was open to the prayers of helping young girls, especially, they say. So the mother took her and some other friends up to Auriesville one day in the springtime of that year, attended Mass, talked to the priest there, and had blessings and novenas offered for her, and continued to pray to Kateri Tekakwitha after their visit. Well, nothing much changed, except they had to get ready for the surgery, to put a catheter in her body, and also to plan for chemotherapy and radiation as well. But before the operation, before that date came, so they took a trip to Florida, just to give the young girl, Angela, a little time to rest and get prepared and, kind of strengthen for the ordeal that was ahead. In the meantime, the mother again is still praying sincerely and asking all her friends to pray as well, but praying for a sign. Praying for a sign that everything will be all right. I think we've done that at times, haven't we? We hope to see signs. And she got a sign. And it happened kind of this way. On that Sunday when they were in Florida, in the afternoon, the mother went out to the pool. Our daughter was resting inside in the hotel room. And as she looked up to the sky, and I think this sign shows a kind that God might have a sense of humor. There was an airplane in the sky, and one of those things, skywriting, you see, they used to do that anyway, with the smoke or whatever it is, and make letters. Well, she looked up at that instant when she's at the pool and saw these words being written in the sky. You plus God equals a smiley face. You read it, you get them all upturned. She took that as a sign from God because it happened instantaneously after she prayed. And she had to do it at the right instant too, because as the last words are being written out, the smiley face, the other words were disappearing because of the breeze and so on, so it wasn't all there at once. So she took that as a miracle and as a sign. And it may well have been a miracle, or certainly a great, what they call coincidence, but I think in a sense it was something spiritual. Had to be there at the right moment. And this gave the mother a great kind of lift. And she told it to her daughter and so on. And they went home. Everyone felt a little stronger now. They had a little something to hang on, yet still she had to go and face the work in the hospital. In the meantime, because of the double vision, the wearing of the patch, they went to see the optometrist they said they could get some special lenses for her glasses so that it would help her. So they ordered the lenses, they were specially made, had to wait for them. But in the meantime, it came time to go to the hospital for the procedures. Before the operation, had to go to the MRI, and it was an hour-long MRI, and the daughter went in and had it, taken care of. When she came back out of the 1 hour being in that particular machine, she announced that she's going to be able to see now without the patch, out of the clear blue sky. Now the MRIs don't do that, they just take pictures of us inside you. And the mother says, "Why are you so confident?" She took the patch off and she could see, as we see, perfectly. And mother said, "Why are you so confident?" And Angela said, "Well, while I was in the MRI, I prayed constantly to St. Kateri Tekakwitha for this second miracle. Where first would be the airplane, and this being the second one. And there was no medical explanation for it. They went home, of course, happy and consolation. Still had a face later on, the chemotherapy and so on. And they also, by the way, when they got the call from the optometrist that the prisons are ready for the glasses, they didn't need them. Just because she didn't need those glasses after all. So that is a story. She followed chemotherapy, and that story took place, 17 years ago almost. And the girl was 13. She's 30 years old today and living a very normal and active life. So anyway, the mother ended her letter to me by saying these words: "I am so grateful for our already answered prayers, and in my heart, I know that God will continue to enjoy God's blessings." And so everyone is still doing well. So that's a story of faith, tested and proven to be strong and sincere. It also happens to be true. I find that, encouraging. So our prayer often should be increase our faith, Lord. It's not by way of complaint, but an answer to Habakkuk's complaint. In the last words of today's first reading, God said this to Habakkuk. The vision presses on to fulfillment, and I will not disappoint. If it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not be late. Remember, you plus God equals smiley face, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.